Senior scientists reveal these 7 signs secretly predict how long you'll live after 70. My name is Edward Miller. I just turned 81 this past January. And if there was ever a moment that made me truly wonder how much time I had left, it was the night I fell in the kitchen. It wasn't a dramatic fall. No broken bones, no blood, no loud cries, except the one echoing inside my own head. I had simply gotten up at 2 a.m. to grab a glass of water, like I usually do on those restless nights. But my left leg trembled. The cold wood floor gave no mercy, and just like that, I lost my balance. I stayed on the floor for a few minutes. Not in pain, just stunned. The light from the fridge cast long shadows across the linoleum, and in that silence, all I could hear was the ticking of my old wristwatch, my wife's birthday gift to me from 1973. She passed nearly 7 years ago, and I thought, if I couldn't get up tonight, who would even know? No one. Not till morning, maybe longer. Dragged myself toward the kitchen chair, gripping the legs like it was the last piece of stability I had. I pulled myself upright inch by inch, like a toddler learning to stand for the first time. Only this time I wasn't growing into strength. I was shrinking out of it. That night didn't break me, but it cracked something open. You see, I used to be a PE teacher. I taught kids how to jump higher, run faster, control their bodies. I never imagined the day I'd struggle to control my own. But somewhere past 70, things began slipping away quietly. Lifting a coffee mug didn't feel the same. Walking to the mailbox took longer. And sometimes I'd catch myself asking, how many good years do I actually have left? I once read a quote that came rushing back to me the next morning. Longevity doesn't begin with doctors or pills. It begins with listening to the quiet things your body tries to tell you. Standing in the bathroom mirror, hands still shaking from the night before, I looked at my reflection. The same eyes that once met my wife's with love. The same voice that called out encouragement to my students. But that morning, I faced myself with a different kind of question. Am I ignoring signs that my life is quietly slipping into a slower, more fragile version of itself? Didn't have the answer. But I knew if I didn't start paying attention, I'd lose the chance to change anything. Are you still listening to your body? Stick with me, because what I'll share next may help you spot the 7 signs your body uses to predict how long you'll live, even before your doctor does. After that fall in the kitchen, I started paying attention to things I had been brushing off for years. Like how I used to carry all the grocery bags in one trip. Now I struggled with just 2. Or how tying my shoes had become something I did. Sitting down, leaning slowly as if my own body was a puzzle I couldn't quite fold anymore. But the one that really got me. Standing on one leg. There's a simple test, they say. If you can't balance on one foot for 10 seconds without wobbling, it might mean more than just weak ankles. It could mean your coordination is fading. Or worse, that your brain and nervous system are slowing in ways you can't feel until it's too late. So I tried it. In the living room, right beside the old recliner, where I've watched every Ohio State game since '89, I stood up straight, lifted my right foot, 4 seconds. That's how long I lasted before I had to grab the wall. I laughed at first. One of those uncomfortable, oh well, I'm just getting old kind of laughs. But deep down, I knew. This wasn't just about balance. It was about control. And for the first time, I realized how much of that I had already lost without noticing. Then came the grip test. My grandson Leo had one of those silly hand grippers he was using to build forearms like Batman, as he called it. That's all, I tried it. My fingers ached before I could even close the thing I used to split firewood. Now a plastic spring made me wince. It's humbling, you know. Realizing your hands are weaker, your legs are slower, your sleep isn't restful, and the world doesn't slow down just because you do. But what haunted me most weren't the signs themselves. It was that I had seen them coming and I ignored them. I'd told myself I was just tired, or it was just the weather, or it was normal for my age. But deep down, I think I was scared. Scared that acknowledging the signs meant acknowledging something worse. That maybe time was catching up. But here's the thing. Once I admitted that, once I saw the signs for what they really were, not just aging, but warnings, I realized I had a choice. I could keep pretending nothing was wrong, or I could start doing something about it. Pause for a second. Have you noticed changes in your balance, your strength, your sleep? Don't brush them off like I did. Because in part 3, I'll show you how even the smallest signs like walking speed can quietly predict the quality of your next 10 years. After the grip test, I started watching how I walked. Not just that, I walked, but how I noticed. I took shorter steps than I used to. I paused at curbs. I'd glance down more often, making sure the pavement was flat, the grass was dry, the path was safe. I didn't feel unstable exactly, just cautious, slower, like my body had started whispering, "Take it easy, watch your step." And once you hear that voice, it's hard to shut it out. Doctors say walking speed is one of the strongest predictors of how long you'll live. It sounds strange, but it's true. When your pace slows down, it usually means something else is slowing too. Muscles, heart, lungs, maybe even brain function. I used to walk fast, not sprint, but confident, like I had somewhere to be. Now walking felt more like something I had to manage. That's when I started noticing something else. I wasn't sleeping like I used to. I'd wake up at 2:13 in the morning, like clockwork, wide awake, staring at the ceiling fan, my mind racing over things that didn't matter, where I'd put my old tax papers, whether I locked the back door, what day my eye appointment was. It didn't feel like rest. It felt like surviving the night. The body heals when it sleeps. It regulates blood pressure, clears toxins from the brain, resets your immune system. But what happens when the sleep is broken, scattered, shallow? You wake up tired. You forget things more easily. You feel like your energy has leaks. You can't plug. That was me. And I kept telling myself, it's just part of aging. But that's not the truth. Yes, aging changes things. But poor sleep isn't just a nuisance. It's a red flag and a slow walk. That's your nervous system trying to get your attention. I didn't want to be the man who woke up every morning wondering how much worse it was going to get. I wanted to be the man who did something, anything, to take back control, to take. If you've noticed your steps slowing, your sleep shifting, or your mornings feeling heavier, don't ignore it. Drop the word aware in the comments if you've ever felt what I'm describing. You're not alone, and trust me, awareness is the first step to healing. I remember the exact moment it hit me. It was a Tuesday morning. I stood in the kitchen holding a coffee mug. I could barely grip without using two hands. The sunlight was streaming in. My old dog Harley was snoozing on the rug, and everything around me looked peaceful. But inside, I felt defeated. Weak grip, stiff joints, aching knees. Another night of terrible sleep, and a voice in my head saying, "Well, that's just what getting older feels like." That was the moment I snapped. Because no one told me how quietly decline creeps in. It doesn't arrive like a storm. It slips in through the cracks. One skipped walk, one restless night, one forgotten name at a time, until you wake up and barely recognize the body you're in. But that day, I asked myself a hard question. What if I stopped waiting for things to get worse and started fighting to make them better? I didn't have a fancy plan. I didn't join a gym or buy supplements off late-night TV. I started small, but I started immediately. First, I worked on standing on one leg for 10 seconds every morning while brushing my teeth. It was humbling. At first, I wobbled like a baby deer, but day by day, my foot got steadier. Then I bought one of those soft hand grippers off Amazon. Every night, while watching TV, I squeezed it between commercials. My handshake stopped feeling like a forgotten memory and started feeling firm again. I started taking 20-minute walks, even if I had to stop and rest halfway through. I didn't care if I looked slow. What mattered was that I was moving. I set a bedtime. No more falling asleep with the TV on or checking my phone at midnight. Dimmed the lights, played soft music, and slowly, so slowly, my sleep began to feel real again. None of it was dramatic, but over a few weeks, my life started feeling possible again. The big shift wasn't in my body. It was in my mind. I went from thinking, I'm declining, to thinking, I'm recovering. That change, that belief was everything. If you've been stuck in that same quiet spiral, here's your moment. Don't wait for a doctor, a diagnosis, or a breaking point. Start now. If you're ready to fight for your years, type, I'm starting, in the comments below. Say it out loud. Claim it. It's funny how you don't notice things getting better until one day everything feels lighter. One morning, I opened the refrigerator, grabbed the carton of milk with one hand, and didn't think twice about it. I stood there for a moment, holding it in the air, surprised by my own strength. That little victory hit me harder than I expected. A few days later, I noticed something else. I'd gone 2 nights in a row without waking up for the bathroom. I woke up before the alarm, not groggy, not stiff, just rested. I sat on the edge of the bed and smiled. It was working, but the biggest shift wasn't in my muscles. my balance, or even my sleep. It was in my spirit. You see, when you start treating your body with care, it starts treating you with dignity in return. It shows up for you. It works a little harder. It fights a little longer. And slowly you stop seeing your age as a sentence and start seeing it as a season, friends. I hadn't seen in months started saying things like, "You look younger," or "You've got a spark back." But what I really got back was time. Time to walk through the park without needing to sit every 10 minutes. Time to help my grandson build his first model airplane without my hands trembling. Time to dance in the kitchen again with Gloria, my wife, while the old Sinatra record played. It's the little moments that aging tries to steal first, and the very moments you fight to get back. I still have aches. I still move slower than I used to. But now I move with purpose, and that purpose brings joy. If any part of this story resonates with you, type, "I want that too," in the comments. Let others see they're not alone. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. It costs nothing. But what you'll gain might just change how you age. If you've made it this far, with me, thank you. Not just for listening to my story, but for holding space for your own. Because the truth is, this story wasn't just about me. It's about all of us who've lived long enough to feel invisible, fragile, or forgotten. I spent a long time thinking my best years were behind me. I thought growing older meant shrinking dreams, shrinking health, shrinking worth. But I was wrong. Aging is not an ending. It's an invitation. An invitation to slow down and see what you missed. An invitation to heal the parts of yourself you kept putting off. An invitation to live, not just survive. And if you're sitting there thinking, "It's too late for me," I'm here to tell you, with every breath in my body, it's not. You still matter. Your hands may tremble now, but they've held lifetimes. Your eyes may dim, but they've seen decades of sunrise. And your heart, if it's still beating, still has work to do in this world. You don't have to change everything overnight. Start with something small. Walk a little more. Eat something green. Call someone you've been meaning to. Stand on one leg and laugh if you wobble, because that's how we stay alive, not just in body, but in soul. If this story reminded you that you're worth fighting for, then let's make a promise to each other. Right here, right now. Let's not grow old quietly. Let's age boldly. Let's love fiercely. Let's forgive freely. Let's live like we've still got something to prove, because we do. To anyone over 70 who feels like giving up, please don't. You're not done yet, and the world still needs what only you can give. If you're still here with me, type, "I'm not done yet," in the comments. Let's show others that aging doesn't mean disappearing. It means deepening. And before you go, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Your voice keeps this message alive.